Okay, something I would like to talk about. I would like to discuss a little bit is the killing and eating of animals, the sacrifice of animals. Now, you could say that these things are utterly unrelated, and to a degree, you might be correct, uh, but also to a degree, you would be wrong. The killing of an animal is the killing of an animal, whether it is purely for consumption or for sacrificial purposes. The animal, dies one way or the other. Uh, Now, you have hunters. Uh, Hunters. They typically most hunters are far more humane and honorable in how they kill animals than what you will find in some commercial production factory. Usually, the animal lives wild and free its whole entire life, and then one shot, bam, so that quick, without even knowing what happened, the animal is down and it is dead. Just that quick, painless, and humane. And it was wild and free its entire life up until that point, bam. And then the hunter gathers that animal up, it takes it, it skins it, the hunter consumes the meat of this animal, so it's not just going to waste. So how terrible is that, really? I mean, really and truly, stop and think about that. An animal that is killed for sacrificial purposes. Just because an animal is killed for sacrificial purposes does not mean that it's being wasted. It doesn't mean that you go out, you kill an animal and just leave it on the ground to rot. An animal that is killed for sacrificial purposes, no, it's not just simply, you go kill the animal, you leave it there to rot. That's not how that works. Our ancestors killed animals for sacrifice. This is historically proven. This is proven within folklore, within religious or spiritual lore, archaeological finds, so on and so forth. This is proven to be factual. So, I mean, it simply is what it is. This is something that our ancestors did. This is also something that not just our ancestors did. This was something that was a worldwide thing. People pretty much across the world did this. They had animal sacrifice. So, I really don't understand why people get so bent out of shape about hunters or about people who do still practice animal sacrifice. I just don't understand it. I mean, these animals are treated much more humanely and with much more respect and reverence than what they will be at some commercial factory where you get, the processed meat from animals that you buy at a grocery store. I mean, have you ever looked into how animals are treated? You ever seen any of those little commercials or watched the documentaries about how animals are treated at these places? Their entire lives are miserable. I mean, terrible, before they die. In a lot of cases. And they're killed for nothing more than profit, really. I mean, the person that's buying the meat is buying it for something to eat. But that's not what it was killed for. It was killed for simply, solely, and only a profit. For money, and that's it. So, I don't understand this blatant aversion to killing an animal when you're, a hunter or you're a farmer and you're raising your own livestock or for sacrificial purposes. If the animal is treated in a humane manner, it's killed in a quick and humane manner, and it's not utterly done for waste. I mean, I really don't understand the aversion to it. Most people just assume when it comes to, say, an animal that's being sacrificed, well, you're just killing that animal for nothing. You're just leaving it there. I'm going to kill this animal for the gods, and I'm going to leave it here. No, that's not how that's done. That's not how animal sacrifice is done. When you kill an animal for sacrifice, Typically, the edible portions and meat of the animal is kept and cooked and fed to the tribe, the people who are present for the sacrifice. Uh, that's usually how things work. When you sacrifice an animal, you cook the meat of this animal that has been sacrificed. And part of the word sacrifice, it basically means to make sacred. So this is sacred meat. This offering has been made sacred. You're offering the life force and essence, the energy, if you will, of the animal in most ways, versus the meat of the animal, the life-sustaining physical sustenance of the animal is distributed amongst the folk, amongst the tribe, amongst the kindred, amongst the people present. And you can put into, say, the ground or into a fire the parts of the animal that are not for the folk to consume, the parts that a human being cannot consume or eat, rather than simply leaving it. Now, you could put it out into the forest. You could take it out into a wooded area and leave it out in the forest, to be absorbed back into the earth, to be eaten by scavengers, or you could bury it, or you could put it into a fire, which fire is oftentimes considered to a degree a portal, if you will. You transfer something from one realm or plane of existence to another through fire or water, very commonly. But nonetheless, animals that are killed in this manner oftentimes have a far and away better life than animals that are raised in some commercial factory. They are killed much more quickly, painlessly, and much more humanely. They typically don't have any fear because they don't even know what's coming. They're perfectly calm, cool, and complacent, and just relaxed. They don't have any fear, worries, or concerns, and all of a sudden, wham, lights out. That's it. Nothing. They didn't have any fear. They didn't have any worry. They weren't in a state of panic. They were calm, and then, they're done. So I don't understand this whole utter anti killing of animals, this aversion to it. I mean, look within nature. I mean, look at how a pack of wolves or a pride of lions will kill a prey animal. I mean, that animal will start getting ripped apart and eaten alive before the life will be choked out of it. And it's getting choked to death. When you have a lion putting a chokehold on, a gazelle and squeezing its neck to pull, to choke the air out of it, that's not the most pleasant way in the world to go, especially not when you can feel yourself being ripped apart and eaten while you're still alive and being choked to death. I mean, that's a very unpleasant way to go. I mean, think about that. Which way is more humane? The gazelle being ripped apart and eaten alive by a pride of lions, or a gazelle that's taking a single shot from a hunter's bullet? Boom. It's down. It didn't even know what was coming. It was 1 minute it's grazing, the next minute, boom, it's dead. No panic, no fear, no nothing. It's just lights out. I mean, come on. Explain to me how that is so terrible and bad. You can't. I don't understand it. Maybe it's because I'm from the South. Maybe it's because I'm from the country. I'm from a rural environment. I'm a country boy, and I grew up around livestock farm animals. I grew up hunting. I grew up fishing, things like that. And you have a much more deep and abiding respect and reverence for animals. When you're the one that has to pull the trigger and end that animal's life, you're the one that has to skin that animal and process the meat from that animal if you want to eat the meat from that animal. You're the one that has to raise this animal only to take its eggs from it, to eat its eggs, or kill and pluck the feathers of that animal, so on and so forth, to eat that animal. You have a much deeper respect and reverence for that animal. You actually have gotten to know that animal a little bit, if it's one that you've raised, say in a farm type environment, or if you're a hunter and you go out there and you watch these animals in the off season. You see them. You get to watch them in their natural habitat out in the forest, and in the woods, and you see that they're these living things. You don't just see a steak in a packet. You actually see the living, breathing animal. You can't tell me that some vegan that's never seen an animal die in any way, form, or fashion in real life, that's never been around an animal, that's never had to end an animal's life or done any of that, you can't tell me they have more respect for an animal than a farmer or for a hunter. They know nothing about that animal, about its lifestyle, its habits, what it does in the woods or on a farm. How did it die? How did it meet its end? Was it done in a quick and humane manner? How was the meat processed? They don't know any of this. Especially not if there's just some vegan that's never eaten meat before in their life, but even if they're just some person who only eats meat that they buy from a store, that's been processed for them. All they see is a steak or a chicken breast in a bag or in a little container. They don't know anything about that animal. Nothing. They didn't have to see that animal's face. Anything you eat had a face at some point. If it's some kind of a meat, it had a face at some point. Some people actually have to see that animal's face. Other people don't. And I understand, that some people can get squeamish about this kind of stuff. But it's just a part of nature. I mean, if you want to live within nature and be a part of nature, you want to live within the land rather than purely off of it. You borrow from the land rather than take from it. You have to understand the natural cycle, the natural order. You have to understand that with life there is also death. If there are prey, there are also predators. This is just natural. It's normal. So, again, it's just a quick talk I thought I might have. Because I just see so many debates about this kind of stuff. You have these people who are like these animal rights activist type individuals, but they don't actually know anything about animals. They'll try to talk about animals as if they're all just some sort of commercially bought, Pomeranian in a little dog carry purse, like it's a pet or something. They don't know anything about animals. They really don't. They think animals are like these civilized, things like people are. And if we just talk to them and, that kind of thing, they don't have a natural understanding of nature, of animals in their natural habitat. Because an animal outside of its natural habitat is not going to act the same way as an animal within its natural habitat. I mean, so many things that factor into these, to just all of this. I don't know. I mean, I've rambled on long enough, and I think I hope I have gotten my point across clearly, cleanly, and concisely as possible in a logical and rational manner. Hopefully. But nonetheless, I hope you all enjoy this conversation, and maybe you have something that you could contribute. Maybe personal life experiences, whatever. But anyway, nonetheless, thanks for listening.